What's up, YouTube? Today we're going to be looking at 10 top teams for the Master Premier League. In the Master Premier League, there is no CP limit, and the only banned Pokemon are Legendary Pokemon, Mythical Pokemon, and Ultra Beasts, which means just your basic, easy to grind Pokemon are what's eligible, so this is a huge win for the free-to-play players. That said, let's take a quick look at the top 20 ranked Pokemon before we hop into the teams. So at the number 1 spot, we have Florges, followed by Metagross, Togekiss, Goodra, Gyarados, Primarina, Goldango, Dragonite, Scizor, Rhyperior, Avalugg, Golisopod, Ursaluna, and Venusaur. So without further ado, let's hop into 10 top teams. So taking the number 1 spot, team number 1, we've got Metagross, Florges, and Gyarados. This is pretty obvious here. You've got a Steel on the lead, which is weak to Fire and Ground, as well as Dark and Ghost. But you can cover the Fire and Ground with Gyarados in the back as a Water Flyer, and then the Dark with Florges, which also has that Chilling Water for coverage. This team is going to be absolutely everywhere. It's just 3 of the strongest Pokemon in this format, so definitely something worth building. Or if you want to play the counters, just kind of focus on what the weaknesses are for this team. Team number 2, we've got Togekiss, Goldango, and Rhyperior. This is another top meta team that you could take a look at. Also an ABC style team. You've got Togekiss on the lead, which is weak to Steel, it's weak to Poison, it's weak to Electric, it's weak to Rock. So when you've got Goldango as your safe swap, which resists a large majority of Togekiss's weaknesses, and then you've got Rhyperior in the back to deal with those Steels. Especially as a Mud Slapper, it looks like a very strong team. I also have some alternative movesets for these Pokemon that in the Sims performed a little bit better. So Goldango with Astonish, Shadow Ball, and Power Gem actually had a better win rate than the recommended moveset. Whether that be the moveset you want to actually go with, I'm not sure. And then same with Rhyperior, it still recommends Breaking Swipe, even though Breaking Swipe got arguably a pretty large nerf this season. So I would recommend either Superpower or Surf. It looked like Superpower performed the best in the Sims, so that is what I have recommended here. Taking a look at team number 3, we've got Goodra, Shadow Scizor, and Primarina. The regular Scizor is ranked higher than the Shadow, but the Shadow does sim better in the 1 and 0 shield scenario. So just going to go with the Shadow Scizor here. Basically, you're just covering your lead's weaknesses, which are Fairy and other dragons. And Goodra, because it uses Aqua Tail and Thunder Punch for coverage, it doesn't have any charge moves into opposing dragons, which is why having something that can beat dragons in Scizor and Primarina in the back is nice. You're also weak to Ice, so Primarina resists Ice. Scizor hits super effective on Ice. So a very solid ABC style team here as well. Next team we're going to take a look at is Shadow Garchomp, Shadow Magnezone, and Avalugg. All these 3 have great win rates in this cup, even though they might not be ranked quite as high. The recommended moveset on Shadow Garchomp was Dragon Tail, Breaking Swipe, and Earth Power. However, once again, I found a better moveset that sims a lot better. It gives you a better bait potential with Sand Tomb, as Breaking Swipe is a high energy charge move now. So Sand Tomb, Earth Power with Dragon Tail looks like it has some decent play. Of course, you lose coverage in your flyers, but most of the flyers that you're going to lose to in this meta, you're going to lose to either way. So having Earth Power and Sand Tomb to just make more matchups more convincing, especially neutral, is something that you should look into. Shadow Magnezone just looks like an awesome core breaker, beating that Florges plus Gyarados, and then having a close matchup with the Metagross. And then Avalugg in the back, actually replacing the Hisuian Avalugg with, just because it's, I don't know, the straight Ice typing, maybe a little bit better than the Ice Rock, given that you're completely walled by Steels anyways, and Steel's single super effective as opposed to double super effective on the other Avalugg, so that's why it's ranked so high there. The next thing we're going to take a look at is Ursaluna, Golisopod, and Shadow Salamence. So Ursaluna, of course, as a normal ground, is weak to Grass, Ice, Water, and Fighting. And so you've got Golisopod, which covers pretty much all of those weaknesses. The only thing it doesn't resist there is that grass, but it hits for super effective with Fury Cutter and X-Scissor, and it just neutralizes the grass typing. And then Shadow Salamence covers all of those except for ice. You do have a double ice weakness on this team, so you could run Fire Punch on Ursaluna. And part of the reason I wanted to even include Ursaluna, even though it doesn't have the best moveset, is that it's very versatile. It has access to all of the different elemental punches, Fire Punch, Ice Punch, Thunder Punch, and honestly, if you look at the top meta, there's a lot of Pokemon weak to Thunder Punch. You've got Togekiss, Gyarados, Primarina. You've got things weak to Fire Punch in Goldango and Scizor. And then weak to Ice Punch like Dragonite and Rhyperior. So having that potential coverage with that high horsepower nuke is definitely something to consider, and maybe you don't want to run the high horsepower depending on which matchups you're willing to give up. So just something to consider for this team. The next team we're going to take a look at is Shadow Dragonite, Metagross, and Kingambit. We've already talked about Metagross here already, so I'm just going to focus on both Dragonite and Kingambit. Shadow Dragonite, of course, has been a staple of the Master Premier League for a while. It has a high CP, a good stat product, and it does really well as a Dragon Flyer with its coverage. This season, of course, it's not opting for Dragon Claw. Instead, it's opting for Thunder Punch and Superpower, and we can see why Thunder Punch is so valuable in this meta. As I kind of just discussed, you've got Togekiss, you've got Gyarados, Primarina. These are 3 top meta Pokemon that you're going to see quite a bit. So having that Thunder Punch coverage is really, really nice, especially because all of those Pokemon you're generally weak to, so having a nice energy lead could be big. And then you've got Metagross, which I kind of already covered, and then Kingambit. So Kingambit is kind of a core breaker. It's one of the few Pokemon in this meta that can core break the Florges plus Metagross core. So the main focus of that is, of course, that Kingambit can either run Snarl or Metal Sound. Snarl has a better matchup into Metagross, whereas Metal Sound has a better matchup into Florges. Metal Sound looks like it has a just better win rate overall and a better average, so I think Metal Sound is the move you want to go for with Iron Head and Foul Play, but it's not to say that Snarl is not a viable option as well. The next team we're going to take a look at is Volcarona, Shadow Magnezone, and Florges. I've already discussed both Florges and Magnezone, but the main thing that I want to talk about with Magnezone on this team specifically is that you could run it with Metal Sound, and the reason you'd want to run it with Metal Sound is because of Volcarona's weaknesses. Volcarona is, of course, only weak to 3 typings. It's weak to Rock. It's actually double weak to Rock. It's weak to Water. And it is weak to Flying. So having that Metal Sound for coverage into your Rock, as well as your, what did I just say, Flying. I mean, Electric would be good there too, but you double resist Flying anyways. And then, of course, you have that Wild Charge coverage for the Water as well. So just an interesting team with Volcarona. I just thought it looked like an interesting core breaker. There's not too much in this meta. Like, it beats Metagross, which is really nice, and it beats your Goldangos, your Scizor, all the steals that it should beat, as well as the ice and the grass, of course. But it also beats Annihilate, which is a cool pickup as resisting the counter damage. And it's a fire that beats like Torterra, which is also really cool. Not that you're going to see too many Torterra in this meta, but regardless. The next team we're going to take a look at is Shadow Hydreigon, Goldango, and Togekiss. We've already discussed Goldango and Togekiss, so the main focus of this team is Shadow Hydreigon. Shadow Hydreigon actually looks very solid. With improved pacing of Dragon Breath this season, you get to these brutal swings, plus the reworked Dragon Pulse as well. So a very solid Pokemon that has a very good win rate in this meta. Of course, you have to have a level 50 Shadow Hydreigon. Not to say that the non-Shadow wouldn't work. The non-Shadow would work. I just don't think it would perform as well because you really need more damage from the Dragon Breaths and Brutal Swings, especially in order to beat that Metagross. I mean, Metagross, you have a pretty good matchup because Shadow Claw is resisted and Brutal Swing is super effective. And then you have Dragon Pulse for like Goodra and all the other dragons in this meta as well. Into the next team, we're going to take a look at Baxcalibur, Roserade, and Metagross. Metagross we've already looked at, so the main focus of this team is Baxcalibur and Roserade. Baxcalibur as an Ice Dragon has a lot of different viable movesets that you can run. The recommended moveset is Dragon Breath, Avalanche, and Dragon Claw, and all the others just kind of seem like side grades. So it kind of depends on what you want and what your focus of this team is. But Baxcalibur is, of course, weak to fighting. It's also weak to dragon. It's weak to fairy. It's weak to steel. So we're covering a lot of those with Metagross, and then Roserade is the safe swap, which can kind of deal with a lot of those, to be frank. It has Leaf Storm for coverage against things like Rhyperior. It has Weather Ball for the steels. It has Poison Stings for the fairies. It also resists Chilling Water on Florges, which is nice. And if you wanted to, you could also run something that gives you dragon coverage. It has access to Dazzling Gleam, and that is something that I'm going to take a look at in a future video. I've already recorded it, but the Open Great League hasn't come back around. But it has coverage into fairies, steels, and dragons potentially. So an alternative moveset you could consider, but I didn't include it here because it did look like an overall downgrade against everything else. But as on the safe swap position, it could be something that's pretty interesting. The final team we're going to take a look at is Shadow Mamoswine, Golisopod, and Kommo-o. We've already talked about Golisopod, so the main focus of this team is both Shadow Mamoswine and Kommo-o. So Shadow Mamoswine has also been kind of a staple of Master Premier in seasons past. However, this season it has better pacing with Icicle Spear, which is really nice, and it also has access to Mud Slap. So depending on how you want to use this Pokemon, you could run it with either Powder Snow or Mud Slap with Icicle Spear. It also has access to Stone Edge for coverage into your fires in case the fires are flying as well, but most are not going to be in this meta. But yeah, so this team looks very solid. Mamoswine looks like a decent core breaker. It's going to beat all your flyers, and that's why you want to run Powder Snow for this team. And then Golisopod is there to lure out those flyers as a bug, and then you have Kommo-o, which runs free in the back, because if you lure out that Togekiss with your Golisopod, then suddenly Kommo-o runs free, and Kommo-o is a great closer with Dragon Tail, Upper Hand, and Clanging Scales. Just great charge moves and a great fast move. So this thing is just really solid. It also covers the majority of Mamoswine's weaknesses, but they're not completely, but it does cover some of them. But yeah, that's 10 top teams for the Master Premier League. Before I wrap up this video, I want to say thank you to the expert trainer members on this channel: Benny Hemlock, Dr. Mustache, Sohan Patil, Eliana, Perry G, Blue Nation, Peter Rushworth, Alright 504, Chompus Clips, and Sons of Code, as well as an extra special thank you to the legend trainer members on this channel: Andrew Pitten, Mooseichu, Noodleman, Speedster, Estros, Fast Eddie Boss, and CD Slaskos. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, peace!